If you want to become conversational in Korean or Chinese or any other foreign language in a matter of months, social learning is the best way to do so. It's very important to have a system. It's very important to have a teacher or a coach, and I teach it. And basically, I help students on my program to become conversational within a matter of months. But it is also very important, what I push my students to do, it is also very important to apply social learning. What is social learning? Social learning is when you actually go out and practice this language before you're even ready to do so. On my program, I've been pushing students to use apps like HelloTalk, for example, and oftentimes they contact me and tell me, Victor, thank you so much for pushing me to use this app, because I just had a conversation in Chinese for 2 hours on HelloTalk on the call, and basically I didn't even switch to English. And others tell me, Victor, thank you so much. I was talking to that person and they flew all the way from their country to my country, and now we're living together. We're going to get married, which is crazy. And I'm like, wow, it's not only about improving your language skills, but it's also about improving your social and even personal life. And this is how you can leverage your language learning to actually improve your social and your personal life and the quality of your life in general. And social learning has, it's the kind of my biggest advantage that I have when it comes to learning foreign languages. I have extreme confidence that I can master any language, no matter how difficult it is, in a matter of months. Even if I cannot go to that target country, I have this crazy confidence. Why is it so? Well, it's because basically I'm an extrovert, I'm a very outgoing person, but even for introverts on my program that I was pushing, even for introverts, they saw crazy benefits when it came to actually pushing themselves on apps like HelloTalk or other apps to practice this language and to eventually meet people that they were practicing with in real life. It is not easy to do. It's not as easy basically to find a conversational partner, because sometimes it literally takes months. For example, if you jump on apps like HelloTalk, most people just want to practice English or just want to practice some other language, and they keep speaking that language to you. And for them, it's basically they don't care that much about your progress in your target language, whether you're learning Korean or Chinese. They don't care that much, or there's like some weird people there. And basically, if you find just one person who will click with you in terms of practice, in terms of language practice, in terms of personal connection, your language learning will be just accelerated dramatically. And this is what I was doing when I was in China. When I was learning Korean in China, when I already mastered Chinese on a fluent level, I started learning Korean, and I was interacting with Korean people basically 24/7. And so at that time my language learning was accelerated dramatically. And when I came to Korea, people were like, how is it possible that you can take job interviews in Korean, you can speak Korean fluently? How is it possible? Because you haven't lived in Korea, you haven't graduated from any university, and how is it possible? You lived in China, how did you learn Korean in China? Well, this is how I did it. If you want to know my secret method on how to master languages, this is called social learning. And by doing so, I improved my social life, I improved my personal life, I increased my income, and I basically increased the variety of choices in my life, in any area of my life. So this is how it goes. And so when it comes to social learning, there are two main ways to apply social learning in your language learning process. The first way is obviously online. If you cannot go to that country, one of the best ways to practice it, to practice the language, to find conversational partners, is obviously to jump on apps like HelloTalk, or jump on some video chats and just chat with people and just practice a few phrases. And I used to say it's not about how many words you know, it's not about how many grammatical structures you know, it's about how well you can use them, how creative you are about using them. And your language learning will be accelerated dramatically if you already have this kind of a feeling that you have a lack of vocabulary, lack of grammatical structures, that you cannot express yourself. Because when you feel this gap between where you are and where you want to be, this is when your language learning is being accelerated dramatically. The reason is that, let's say you learned a few hundred words and tens of grammatical structures and you don't practice them. well, your brain doesn't even recognize the need that you need to learn something new. So this is extremely important that you start practicing the language right from day one, because it actually happens on our subconscious level that we recognize that we need to learn more in order to communicate with people. You need to prove it to your brain, not by just thinking about it, but that by actually taking action and proactively putting yourself in those uncomfortable situations when you want to say something but you cannot express it and you have to use translator and stuff like this. So again, push yourself on apps like HelloTalk and other apps which help you to find conversational partners. It's okay if you spend months to find conversational partners in a target language. It's about finding one quality conversational partner, and it's all about it's all about the quality and the investment of your time. Is it's like, even if you invest so many hours into finding just one conversational partner, it will pay off in the long run. The second one is offline. So what can you do offline? Offline is very obvious. Sometimes you connect with people from HelloTalk and you want to meet each other offline in the country that you go to. For example, you connect with somebody and you practice your Korean on HelloTalk, and when you come to Korea, you can meet them in real life, which is absolutely awesome. You can also just approach people and just talk to them and just have short conversations. You saw the videos of me just buying something and just talking to people and asking them, and those are the best examples where you can see how you can practice the language with people that you don't know, but you can practice it when buying things, when going out, and basically there are so many opportunities. And offline, the best way to practice languages offline is actually to approach people and talk to them. If you're attracted to somebody, if you think that somebody is interesting, you can just approach them and ask a couple of questions, just greet them, and just practice your language. And this is very, very important. When I came to China, when I went to China, on my very first day, I started approaching people and practicing my Chinese. On the very first day in China, I started approaching people and practicing my Chinese. And basically, this is why I have this crazy confidence that I can master any language literally in months on a conversational and even fluent level, because I started practicing this language from day one, offline. When I go to that country, I literally started approaching people from day one. And back in the days, obviously, I was very interested in dating, and I was very interested in improving my personal life and social life. And during that time, I was very active not only in my language practice but also in my dating life. So this is why I was basically approaching people and talking to them when I was attracted to them. And this is basically, it helped me to improve, as I told you, it helped me to improve my language abilities, it helped me to improve my social life, personal life, and everything which goes from that. And so offline is very important as well. If you don't do all those things, basically you're missing out. Even if you study with the textbook, even if you study within the right system, with the right coach, yes, it will cut years off of your learning curve, but if you don't push yourself socially, if you don't do everything that you can do to actually practice this language and to prove it to your subconscious mind that this language is critical for your survival and reproduction, by proactively putting yourself in uncomfortable situations to practice this language where you absolutely have to practice this language, you're missing out basically. And this is where this confidence comes from. It comes from actually practicing. There is a thing which goes like, basically, there are two kinds of knowledge. You can say there is a book knowledge and street knowledge. You can be book smart or street smart. When you study with a textbook, this is absolutely great, but there are so many expressions, there are so many things that are not used in real life. And when you go out, when you interact with people in real life, all of a sudden you cannot understand them, but you're learning for years, for months, and when you actually go out and talk to people, you cannot understand anything that they say. Well, this is actually the difference between being book smart and street smart. You need to become street smart. You need to practice everything. You need to know what kind of expressions sound native and what kind of expressions don't sound native. You should absolutely focus on that. And another thing is that social learning is also very connected with massive exposure. There is another principle in my 17 steps program which is called massive exposure. For example, when you consume a lot of content in this language and when you know what kind of expressions are native, what kind of expressions are kind of awkward and stuff, and you can compare them. You can compare the material in the textbook with the material, with the expressions that you can see from, let's say, Korean dramas and or like any kind of content that you consume in a foreign language. This is absolutely great as well, but real life interaction, again, it is different even from the content that you watch. In real life interactions, when people ask you the simplest question, you probably won't be able to respond because you're not trained, because you don't have this street smart component. And again, it's not only about consuming content in this language. If you consume a crazy amount of content in this language, it doesn't mean that you will be able to answer questions in this language in real life. So this is why social learning is critically important for accelerating your language abilities. Okay, so to wrap it up this video, again, there are two ways that you can practice the language. There are two ways that you can use social learning. The first way is online, with apps, with video chats, and with all those sorts of platforms. And the second is offline, with approaching people, with actually connecting learning of a foreign language with some hobby activities, and doing some offline events and stuff like this, participating in some offline events and talking to people in the language. One problem I'd like to mention here before I close this video, one problem is that especially for native English speakers, it's very hard for you to practice languages like Korean and Chinese and other languages because people just want to practice English with you. In this case, you just ignore the fact that they want to practice English because you have no choice. If you proceed speaking English to people all the time, there will be no chance for you to actually master Korean, Chinese, or any other foreign language on a conversational fluent level. You just keep speaking Korean or Chinese or your target language when they speak English to you. You just keep responding in the target language. You just keep doing that until the situation becomes so awkward so that they speak to the language that you want to practice. This is the method that I've been using myself, and basically my recommendation is that you try to find people who don't speak English that well or who don't speak English at all. If you practice Korean or Chinese or any other language, try to find those people. This is absolutely golden. This is absolutely golden. This is the best advice I can give to you when it comes to actually practicing the language. So again, hope that this video was helpful for you. It's kind of a long monologue I have here. I hope that you will apply all of those principles, and let me know in comments down below what is the thing that you've been using to actually progress your language learning socially. What is the social learning component that you've been working on? Let me know in comments down below, and also let me know what is the thing that you've been missing out on. Or for example, you've been practicing language offline but you haven't tried to do it online, and you tried to do it online but you haven't tried doing it offline. Let me know what your difficulties are. If you want to master Korean and Chinese, and if you want me personally to push you step by step, to guide you step by step, to teach you step by step, one-on-one, you can apply for my coaching program, for my Chinese, Korean, or Russian coaching program. Click the link down below, fill out the short application form, and jump on the call with my team, and we'll see whether you are a right candidate for our coaching program. Since it's one-on-one, spots are very limited. I cannot work one-on-one with a crazy number of people, obviously, but you obviously can apply. Just fill out the questionnaire. We'll see whether you're a right applicant, whether you're a right candidate for our program. And if you are, you will be very lucky to actually master this target language on a conversational level in just a few months from now. Click the link down below, and as always, until next time.